Want to have a successful career in music? Read my book and you'll know all the ins and outs that it takes to make it in the music industry.
Hey everybody, welcome to Philly Legends Podcast. I'm Joe Colari. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode of Philly Legends Podcast. So today is a repeat from the second show I did, and that was about a year ago to today.
Yeah,
about a year ago.
Yeah.
And this gentleman is promoting his new audio book, and that was the first time I had the opportunity to talk to him was last May, and I've been in contact with him ever since.
Yeah.
And what a phenomenal career advice that you can get from this gentleman. If you're looking to be in the recording industry or a musician, this is the guy you need to talk to, Robert Boogie Bowles. Thanks, Robert, again for being on.
Yeah, man. Well, Joe, I want to hold up the book.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I know you got the audio book.
I do.
But this is a book. This is the book, Achieving Longevity in the Music Business. I did it, and you can too. And, Joe, when we had COVID, remember COVID hit?
Yes.
Nobody was working. And I had time to think about how did I get here, and be able to make a living in the music business for 60 years. And so that's when I wrote the book. Actually, that year I started writing because I had plenty of time to write when nobody gigging, everything closed up. And, I started out, didn't know anything. And I just started chronologically thinking, how did I manage to survive all these years, in a business that has tremendous highs and tremendous lows?
Yes.
And, I paid my dues,
Sure.
and I made it through. And that's essentially it, man. Wow.
And of course, he had this book. That's what we were talking about the last time we were on.
That's right. Yeah. That's my autobiography.
Right.
That's where, I started out in West Virginia living on a riverbank in a small town with dirt roads. And just dreamed of making a living, making music. Actually, at that time, I didn't, because I was, young. I was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old. But my father played the guitar, and of course, when I was 12, that's when I really got interested in music. And I wanted to tell you something. I remember when I was 12 years old, and I think you can relate to this because I know you're in the rhythm and blues like me. I used to, before I go to bed at night, I'd turn on the radio, and I think I went all the way to the left, and I would get this station coming out of Memphis, Tennessee, with a DJ named John R.
Wow.
You ever heard John R?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, man. I'd go to sleep. Listen, because John R., he played nothing but R&B.
Yeah.
And there was another cat that was on the show with him that they played R&B. And of course, being a guitar player and everything, there's a lot of guitar and all that R&B down there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
this was, hey, man, this had to be in the 50s. I was 12 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
And you know what? This cat sounded black. But you know what? He was white.
Wow.
And I didn't find out the cat was white until I don't know, maybe 20 years ago,
Wow.
Yeah. But John R.
John R. I'm going to have to look him up.
A lot of cats who listen to the show, they say, oh, yeah, John R. But he played R&B. It was really great, But
yeah, we had
to be late at
WHAT
night to get that signal.
Yeah. Yeah, here in Philadelphia, we had WHAT and WDAS.
Oh, really?
Were the R&B stations, and they were the stations that I listened to growing up.
Yeah.
We had, you had your top 40 stations. That was WFIL and Wibbage. I listened to them as well.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I loved, like you, I loved the R&B.
Yeah.
So, you had Jocko Henderson.
Yeah.
And Georgie Woods.
Yeah.
Butterball.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it was just, we had so many great, Harvey Holiday. We
Yeah.
had great,
Oh, yeah.
we had so many great jocks
Absolutely, man.
here in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
And then you moved from West Virginia to Pennsgrove.
Pennsville.
Oh, Pennsville.
Actually,
I'm sorry, Pennsville.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. My father, when I was when he got out of the service, he was in the Second World War. He couldn't settle down.
Wow.
He couldn't settle down. And I must have lived in 4 or 5 different states, Ohio, Delaware, Jersey, all over the place. And then when I was around 12 years old, we moved into Pennsville, New Jersey, and my father got a job at the DuPont plant there.
Okay,
and my mother told him, she says, look, his name was Robert as well. She said, Robert, look, we got a son. He's got to get an education, and we can't be running all over the country, pulling him out of this school, that school, and whatever, And so we settled there, and that's where I graduated from high school.
Sure.
And of course, we went all through this, on the last interview,
Sure.
But
so we're catching people up.
We're catching them up. Yeah.
Right. And Robert started playing for Jerry Butler, the Iceman.
Absolutely.
When you were in Boston going to school there.
Absolutely. When I got out of high school, I knew I wanted to make a living making music, but I didn't know how to get started. And my father said to me, he said, the day I graduated, he said, Robert, I want you to borrow $100 from your mother, buy a car, get a job, and start paying rent to your mother. And we all lived together.
Sure. And
I did that. I did it for about a year and a half, almost 2 years. And I worked in concrete, man. If you don't have any skills, you get out of high school, you're going to get the dirty jobs. You know what I mean? There's nobody.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I wanted to get into music, and I had a friend that lived up in Pennsgrove, I believe. There's a town in between. There's Pennsville, and then there's Deepwater,
right,
and then there's Pennsgrove, and then there's Philly. But anyway, his name was Ronnie Alieno, and Ronnie was a couple years behind me in school, and he was going to a different school. But Ronnie knew I played guitar, and he'd come by the house, and he loved jazz. As a matter of fact, Joe, he loved jazz so much, he put a wedding ring on his finger, and he put another wedding ring on his alto saxophone. Can you imagine, man?
That's awesome.
Cat loved jazz,
Wow.
And he come by, and he said, Bobby, I'm going up to Berklee College of Music, and I want you to go with me. And I said, oh, Ronnie, I said, man, I've been out of high school nearly 2 years, man. They ain't going to take me. He said, fill out this application. They're going to take you. I did. And I had been saving my money, for the 2 years. I knew if I was going to get out of the house, I was going to need money, right?
Right.
Everybody who wants to get out of the house going to need money. So I had enough money to get through the first year, and I had to stay in the dormitory is required if you're from out of state. Had enough money to pay for that, and I had enough pay for my courses for the first year, and actually half of the following year. So I went up there with Ronnie, and that was the beginning. I was so happy. All day long, I'd be going to classes, and I'd be studying arranging. I'd be studying substitute chords and just everything to do with music. And excuse me. And at night, people started asking me to play in the clubs. So on the weekends, I'd be playing in the nightclubs, and during the week, I'd be going to school.
Yeah, man,
I was a happy dude, man, to get out of the concrete business back in Pennsville. Man, so I started doing that, and I stayed up. I couldn't. I didn't have enough money to continue to go to school, so I had to drop out from time to time and do other things. I sold music at the G. Shermer up on Boylston Street, and I taught some music, guitar and so forth over in a couple of other towns around. And I still played in the clubs, backing up some artists that came to town, like Martha and the Vandellas and so forth, and a lot of the cats who lived in town. Then one day, I was working with Q Harris and the Preachers. And, you know, it's funny. Q Harris, the Preacher, he had these choir robes we would wear on stage, you know. And it was just guitar, bass, and drums, and Q, who sang and played the saxophone. Back then, you know, there wasn't really a keyboard you could carry around or anything. You know, the first one I ran across was the Wurlitzer when I joined Jerry Butler. But other than that, it was basically, you know, as small as you can get. It would be a guitar, a bass, drums, and, you know, a singer. So anyway, the Q Harris and the Preachers, those guys, we were open for Jerry Butler. And Jerry, he didn't have a guitar player. His guitar player didn't make it, which was not really uncommon. I backed up a lot of people. And I was asked to back him up. And when I did, I was told to go up to his room where he would pay me, excuse me. And Jerry paid me $50 for that night. Generally, I was making 12. I was making 12 around town. And he paid me 50, and he said, "How would you like to be my guitar player and go on the road?" The most important words spoken to me in regard to my career, you know.
Right.
I won't go into all detail because I want to, but this was the beginning that would take me out of working locally, backing up acts around town, to put me on a stage with a guy who had a record deal, who had actually 10 years in the business at that time.
Yeah.
Jerry understood the business, and he was well known, a lot of hits. But anyway, so I started working with him, and this, I thought about this a lot. In order to sustain a career for a long time.
And this is going to be important for what you put in your book.
Absolutely. This is it. Well, first of all, you know, whether you're a barista, I don't care what you do, you need training. Now, I know today, you know, music has changed. The way we make it is altogether different. There's AI, you know, there's computers and all that. But basically, it hasn't changed for if you want to have sustain a career in music. It hasn't changed since the days of Mozart and Beethoven. You know, Mozart, I mean, he toured with his father and his sister. That was like in the late 1700s. And Beethoven, he composed music. He would rent out a hall and sell tickets, and you know, and that's the way they did it. And it's still the same today. And I did it. I didn't realize I was doing it as I progressed through my career over 60 years. But number one, when I went to Berkeley, I got an education. You know, matter of fact, I got too much of an education. So some of the stuff like dissonant counterpoint and all that, I never did to use that. But anyway, but when I got with Jerry, number one, if you can learn to play an instrument, the thing about learning to play an instrument is you get paid at the end of the night. You know, I go out with, you know, I work for Smokey Robinson now. I get paid 2 or 3 days before I even leave town to go on the road. You know what I mean?
Tell everybody how long you've been with Smokey.
40 years.
That's insane. That's insane.
It is insane. And I was very blessed to get that call. You know, we have these windows of opportunity that open up to us. The problem with the music business is that these windows of opportunity don't stay open that long.
Right.
And you've got to make it from one point to another. And another thing is the music business is youth oriented. You
Yes.
know, yeah, I mean, 13 to what is it now? Like 23, 4 years old.
Yeah.
You know, that's the target area that the labels and everybody, they target at it because that's where the money is.
That's right.
You know, if the kids don't have the money, mom and dad will buy it.
Yep.
They'll pay $150 for a hoodie and put it under the Christmas tree.
That's
You
right.
know, but as we get older, you know, I started young, you know, actually I was almost 20 when I went to Berkeley, but when I joined Jerry, I was, I don't know, 25, 6. Oh, Jerry, joining Jerry, yeah, 25, 26 years old. But anyway, when I got with him, first I was just going around playing, backing him up. Whenever he'd do a concert, you know, I'd be there playing guitar behind him. And then he asked me to, you know, to play on a few records. And one was, as you know, Never Gonna Give You Up, right there in Philadelphia. Kenny
Great
Gamble,
record.
Leon Huff. And so I went with Jerry, and I was, you know, making the money, backing him up, and doing the record sessions. And then he once the record started taking off, he said to me, Boogie, I got this. I got to do the Johnny Carson show. Now, like I said, I went to Berkeley. I had some education in music. He said, could you do me an arrangement for the Johnny Carson band, you know, Doc Severinsen? I said, sure. You know, that's another stream of income, you see. So I because of my education, I could do that. So I did that, and it turned out great. The cats in the band said, hey, nice chart. I think it was The Look of Love. So nice chart. So Jerry, you know, I'm thinking, you know, Boogie did all right on that one. You know what I mean? You know, so I started doing the charts for him on the road. You know, whenever we do like the Apollo or something, they would augment the basic rhythm section with 3 trumpets, 2 bones, and 4 saxes. So I started doing all the charts for stuff like that. And then, you know, and then later he said, would you produce certain records for me, for my record company, you know, for his label? He had a label, Fountain Records.
Yeah.
So, you know, I started doing that. And in order to survive, you must use all the talent that you have.
Yeah, they have to complement each other. And like you said, when you grab that first royalty check, you don't want to go plop it down on a new Maserati.
Oh man, let me tell you something. That's another thing. When, you know, this was a great window of opportunity for me. I was young. All the music was being created by young people. Okay, I was coming up through that. And, you know, one of the things is you have to learn how to save your money. You know, if you get a royalty check, you know, for $50,000, $60,000, you don't go out and make a down payment on a Maserati. You squirrel that money away. You put it in, you know, in the stock market, in mutual funds or CDs, you know, investments like that. And later on, if you get some good money, you know, way later on, you know, you can invest in real estate and so forth and so on. But whatever you invest in, if you bought a home, you know, music is like a jealous mistress. She wants all of your time. Not, you know, if you don't give it to her, she's going to make like hard on you. So you want to score your money away where you can nibble off of it from time to time when you know, the years, you know, sometimes you have great years, sometimes you'd have so-called years. So you want to be able to, you know, bridge the gap. So you need to be able to nibble off that savings. But so with Jerry, that was a great window of opportunity for me. And of course, as I watched what was going on around me, I got ambitious. And I realized that the music business is about songs and singers. And if I was to sustain my career, I would have to learn how to write songs. All the producers that we worked for, they wrote songs. They had the material. And if you think about it, as a guitar player, I got to have a song if I'm going to play,
Right.
And a producer needs a song, a singer needs a song. It's all about songs and singers. So with the ability to play an instrument, and you don't have to be a virtuoso. A lot of cats come to me and they say, "Hey, Boogie, I got this great gig, man, like it pays good money and all the cats can play except this one guy." And I said, "Well, why don't you replace him?" And they say, "Well, it's because he's the leader and he got the gig." I can't tell you how many times coming up, I worked for cast man who could hardly play, but they got the gig.
Right.
I mean, you don't have to be a virtuoso to stay in the business. You can be the leader. And these days, you can play, you can play a flute and get some backing tracks,
Right.
And I remember one time I was working a gig in New York City. No, it wasn't New York. It was Washington, D.C. I get up to my room and I hear this trumpet playing da 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 da. I just heard just that melody. I said, "What the hell?" So I go to my window, I look out the window. I see this dude on the corner just playing melodies. People walking by, dropping money into his hat.
Yeah.
I'm saying, wow. Now that's an example of the power of a melody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So playing an instrument, you don't know where that's going to lead either. You don't know where you're going to go with that.
Yeah.
So learning to play an instrument and learning about music and always being a student. I started when there was no computers, there was no programs, no logic, nothing like that. But I had to learn all this. And now we got AI and Suno and ACE.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to getting into that. I'm not into that now, but as soon as I figure out how I can get paid,
right.
I'm going to jump into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you have got to always be a student and always be learning. So so learning to play an instrument, you don't have to be a virtuoso, and learning to write songs.
Yeah.
And I figure there's 3 principal streams of music, and each one of those have tributaries, you know what I mean? The other thing is teaching, which is exactly what I'm doing right now.
Wow.
I've written 2 books to teach.
Absolutely.
And it's not about me. I mean, it's for somebody, the young folks coming up, or anybody who wants to know how to make a living. And so I'm teaching now. So learn to play an instrument and learning to write songs. And, when you first start out, when I first started out, I didn't know what I was doing. I had an idea. I didn't really understand what's commercial, what isn't. I was writing songs about bugs and trucks and all kinds of stuff,
Yeah.
And it's funny. Well, I'll get into it in a minute. A lot of times, you just have to go on your gut,
Yeah.
But what you need to do from the very beginning is start writing songs and create a catalog.
Yes.
As you may know, later on, when things got real bad, or I had things were in transition with the drum machine and all that, I made a deal with Warner Brothers because I had written a lot of songs with a young lady, which I had gotten two record deals with. And I had a catalog of songs. And our attorney said, "Do you have any more songs like the one that you just got to deal with?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." I had made demos on them. Some of them were good, now as I look back in retrospect. And some of them were pretty doggone good. You know what I mean?
Right.
But anyway, he took it over to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers heard it and said, "Wow, we want to make a deal with you." And they gave us an ass pocket full of money,
Yes.
and for a year, all we did was write songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Continue to hone our craft,
Yeah.
and we had money. But if I had not been writing songs in the beginning and creating a catalog, I don't know, man. I wouldn't have anything to sell, and that's very
Right.
important. Always be making something that you can sell.
Yes. I love writing.
Whether it's a master recording, be making something you can sell, because you can't make music without money. You need money.
Yeah.
So you must be thinking in terms of, how can I make $1? And you and you know what, man? I've seen guys come in and be very fortunate and make a lot of money. But because the way the business is, it's not designed for longevity. 4 years, the public taste in music changes about every 4 years. I don't care who you are. Of course, there's an exception with rap. I think it went a lot longer. But disco, believe it or not, only lasted 3 years. It could have went farther if it wasn't for the political stuff that was going around, because all the record stations were going, all the radio stations were going into disco. And I don't care how successful you are, how much money you made. When it changes, you have a hard time staying in. I've seen producers, and I've worked for them, played on their records, man, that one day the phone wasn't ringing for them to produce anybody. So they, I tell you a story. I knew a guy, and we hear his records all the time. I played on most of the ones he ever produced. Anyway, he didn't call me there for quite a while, and I'm figuring, oh man, I wonder what's going on, But anyway, a couple of years later, he gives me a call. He says, "Boogie, what's happening?" And I said, "Well, man, I'm working with Smokey Robinson now. I'm out on the road, backing up Smokey, and so forth." I said, "What's going on with you?" He said, "Man, you wouldn't know my life now." And I said, "What you mean I wouldn't know your life?" He says, he said, I kind of got cold. I didn't have any hit songs, and so I went out, as an independent producer does." He said, "I went out and I found this guy. He says he sings his butt off." And he told me, I said, "Oh yeah, man, he can chirp, no doubt about it." He said, "Well, I took him in the studio and I recorded an album." And I said, "Cool." And he said, I made an appointment to see the A&R director at this, major label. And I said, "Cool." He said, "Well, Boogie, I'm sitting out, in the hall, in a little waiting area there." And he said, "What I heard coming out of the A&R's director's office didn't sound anything like I had in my bag." Now, here's a guy, he was doing interviews. He was at the top of his list, Grammys, blah, blah.
Right.
Couldn't get back in the game. Now, he wasn't really an instrumentalist. I would have told him, I said, "Well, get that flute, man. Get that out in the corner.
Yeah.
You can make $1. But he wanted to be in the game. But that window of opportunity passed by him, Q Harris said something one time, and this is so relevant. He said that music, more than anything else, separates the generations.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, besides being a youth-oriented business and public's taste in music changing every 4 years, and music, more than anything, separates generations, it's very difficult to sustain a career.
It is.
Staying in. So I believe it's very important to learn to play an instrument. You don't have to be a virtuoso. Learn how to write songs. Start writing, And some of the greatest writers in the world, they say, "I wrote 2,000 songs," but they only had 2 hits. They only
Right.
wrote 2 or 3. It's hard to write great songs every time,
It
but
is.
you can sell your catalog when things get tough, or a few songs in your catalog to sustain your career so you can get to the next level, you
Yeah.
know? And teaching. I've always taught. I told you when I was in Berkeley, I
Right.
would be teaching over in another town, and so by doing those 3 things simultaneously, when one window closes or starts to close, something else in one of those other mainstreams of income can open up. And another thing is that each one has tributaries. If you're out playing, every time you're playing, you're essentially showcasing your talent.
Yep.
So
You're
playing,
promoting your next gig.
you're promoting your next big gig. That's what happened with Jerry Butler. I was,
Yeah.
And over the years, I've been asked, and not only that, sometimes people come up to you and say, "Do you teach?" And people still want a one-on-one physical a lesson. I know there's a
Right.
lot of stuff going on the internet, but so you have that going for you. And then, like I said, with the writing, you never know when you get the opportunity. If you're going and writing, you get off into producing.
Right.
And you don't know where that's going. You could be a beat maker, or so many other things. So, writing, demoing your songs and having them ready to sell, and of course teaching. I've managed to write like a couple books.
Right.
So all of these things have tributaries that can help you sustain your career, and of course save your money. Be
Yes.
wise. Later on, you may be fortunate enough, to have you have a very nice nest egg, and then you can go ahead and invest in real estate or whatever.
Well, one of the
But
things you said in the new book
yes,
was being able to take advantage of unemployment because of being in the union.
man, look, it's not necessarily the union. A lot. I remember,
Yeah, you
it's
can
just
set that
being
up yourself.
employed. It's just, well, if you're employed by you, if you start your own like label or whatever like that, and you're self-employed, you can't collect unemployment.
Right. You can't do it that way.
Can't do it. So I know this. You don't, as a musician, you don't want to leave any money on the table. And a lot of cats, sometimes they can be too proud.
Sure.
Right after pride comes a fall. you got to be careful. Don't be proud in this business, because it's a long way from the top to the bottom,
Yep.
and it happens real quick. But I remember when I moved, I started my own production company, and I got Tavares was my first act, and I got a deal with Capitol Records, and don't check it out. But I remember when I went out to L.A. To live and try to make it, try to make it in L.A. I started running out of money. I started running out of royalties, and the big checks come in first, and then they slowly over time get smaller down to pennies. You know what I mean? So I said, man, it's getting tough. I'm gonna have to find some money. So I decided to go down to the unemployment office, and I had never collected unemployment before in my life. I knew it existed. And maybe someone said, "Hey, Boogie, why don't you go down to unemployment, man? You might be able to get some money down there." So I went down, and I was feeling, like, oh, man, you poor self, you stand
Right.
up in this unemployment line. And I looked over, and I saw Richard Roundtree standing in the line.
Shaft was there.
Along with a couple other cats, you know what I mean? And I said to myself, and Richard, he was Shaft, man.
Yeah.
He's doing all right, but he ain't leaving no money on the table. You know what I mean?
Right.
I looked and I saw Richard Roundtree, and I said, shit, I'm standing in this line. I'm going up to this window. You know? So I went up to the window to collect unemployment. And that was the first time that I actually, I think I got a little something. Somewhere along the line that year, I'd worked for somebody, an employer that paid into the fund, you see.
Right.
So that was the beginning. And all the time that I worked in LA, I was there for, I lived in LA for 20, I think it was 23 years. If I didn't do a record date, you know, for a week or so, I go down, I go down unemployment,
Sure.
you know.
Well, you pay it in, you should be able to take it out.
Absolutely. And,
Yeah.
and as a musician, as somebody in the music, you know, you don't leave that money on the table. It's
Right.
all part of the game. You need that money. You know, you get as much as you can, you know.
Yeah, listen, it's a tough enough game.
It's tough enough.
And if you can get some benefit from something that you did or smart enough to take care of that, then you should be able to reap the benefit from it.
Absolutely.
There's no shame in that game.
Ain't no shame in that game.
That's right.
No, ain't no shame in that game.
That's right.
So, yeah, you've got to take advantage of everything you can, you know. Because you know what they say about the music business. It's a dirty business.
Oh, absolutely.
Second only to boxing.
You know, when you think about it, and, you know, I've been doing this a long time, and I think of, you know, the highs and lows are massive.
Yes.
And you know, it's not fair.
Yeah, no.
It's, you have to pay to play. There's not anything you can do in this business that's not going to cost you money.
Oh, that's true. That's so true.
And you have to, you know, you got to have a really strong exterior like yourself to be able to sustain yourself for 60 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's insane.
It is insane. The longer I do it, I mean, I'm
still doing it.
Yeah. Well, I do it because of love.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
it's something that you can't get out of your blood.
Hey, there are three reasons people get into the music business, as far as I'm concerned. Some people get into it because they want to be famous. They want to hear themselves on the radio. And they may become what we call a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of those people, they're never able to obtain that status again.
There's
a lot of them chase it to the point to where they get old and broke.
Yep.
And the next thing is old, broke, and sick. And you don't want to be there. You know?
No.
And then there's those people that get into the music business and they think, I'm getting in because I want to get rich. When the truth of the matter is, the high profile people they see they're in the business, they only make about 10% of their wealth from music. That's not to say that the music didn't help get the endorsements and etc.
Sure.
And then there's the guy who gets in, which is me and you. We get in because we just love music. We want to make you music. We'll make music for free. You know,
most of the time I have.
Yeah. Oh, I've done a lot of stuff for free. It was just,
absolutely.
It was just for love. But I want to tell you, you know, Bobby Caldwell, man, he had a song, "What I Won't Do for Love."
Yep.
And the lyric is like, "In my world, only you can make me do for love what I would not do." You know, you run around town in a bucket while all your friends, man, got brand new cars. You'll sleep in one room with a hot plate while your buddies are talking about, well, I'm going to buy this house over here up on Nob Hill or something, you know. You'll do that. You know, you've got to be able to walk a musical tightrope without a safety net. Yeah. And if you haven't got that, if your love for that mistress, which is music, is not strong enough, you ain't gonna make it.
No, you're just not.
But if you can do those things, you'll make it. Yeah. And of course, making it is different for everybody. It's very subjective. You know,
It is.
it's different for everybody. You know,
Yeah.
all I ever wanted to do was make music. I couldn't do anything else because uh, and I guess, getting to Social Security where you're getting a check, that takes the weight off, But,
Absolutely.
but you got to be that. You got to be that kind of person,
Yeah,
You gotta,
it's a
yeah,
never dying desire. It's hard to explain. It really
yeah,
is, because it's, for most of us,
yeah,
it's very non-rewarding. I mean,
yeah,
I've been very fortunate in my
yeah,
life,
yeah.
with the thing, but as a writer,
Mm.
I don't think I've seen um, too much of a return,
Oh, yeah,
but it doesn't stop me from doing it every day.
yeah. Well, the writing thing is money that's becoming later.
Right.
Publishing money, that's
Yep.
slow money that comes. That's why.
Yes, absolutely.
That's why I tell cats, learn to play an instrument, because at the end of the night, I don't care. You don't have to be a virtuoso. You're going to get a check. And
Yeah,
like I said, I work for Smokey Robinson. I get my check 2 or 3 days before I even leave town.
that's
And that's
awesome.
just the way a guy at his status, that's the way they do
Right.
business. I mean, it's not uncommon. Uh,
Yeah.
but you're going to get instant money like that. And teaching, you get through teaching, guy hands you, well, unfortunately, it'd be cash, but
Right.
because you want to get that unemployment, so you're trying to get
Right.
get somebody to take some, that
Right.
qualified. You know what I mean? But um, I tell somebody once said, I heard him say, it's easier to be a doctor than to be successful in the music business.
It is. I mean, there's nothing more. Well, the other thing is that it's so subjective. So
Yeah,
whatever you're doing,
yeah,
one person's going to go, "Oh my God, that's terrible," and the other
yeah,
person's going to be going, "That's the best thing I've ever heard." And
yeah,
if
right,
you don't have thick skin,
yeah,
because everybody's a critic.
yeah,
I mean, there's not anybody that you meet in your life that doesn't
yeah,
listen to music. So
yeah,
everybody's an expert,
yeah,
and they're willing. These people are more than happy to tell
yeah.
you you're not good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. You're right. Yeah,
And
I
it's
agree.
if you don't have that mentality,
Yeah,
um, I know so many people that I've come up with during my years in the business,
yeah,
and these are tough skinned people,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
and
Gonna
you
have
have
to
to
be.
be.
You gotta be.
Yeah.
Dave. Yeah, I experienced it. With my daughter. Over the years, she'd be coming to me and she'd say, "Papa, I want to play you something." I said, "Honey, really?" He says, "Yeah, I want to play." She said, "Play it." And I said, I don't relate. I don't relate." I'm thinking,
Right.
yeah, 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 yeah. But there was one guy, there was one artist. She came. I'll never forget it. She came to me and she said, "Papa, I want you to hear this song." And I'm almost going like, "Well, honey, maybe you can play it later." She said, "No, I want to play it for you now." And she played "Grenade,"
Wow.
by uh, Jesus.
Yeah. It's escaping me too.
And Bruno Mars. She played "Grenade" by Bruno Mars.
That's it.
And I said, "You like this?" She said, "I love it." And then she played me the video, you know, and I
Yeah.
went, "Wow." I said, "He's contemporary?" She said, "Oh, yeah.
Well, see, this is what people don't understand. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up,
Yeah.
because it's so funny, because the way that I
Yeah.
write old school.
Yeah.
When I write songs, I'm writing it in an old school vein because
Yeah.
that's what I like. So people will go, like, if you send it out to somebody, you'll get a lot of people that like it, and you'll get a lot of people who don't like it. And they'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, it's good, but it sounds like this should be something in the 90s."
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's because I intended it to be that way.
Yeah. Right.
So, but when you listen to Bruno Mars
Yeah.
Bruno Mars
Yeah.
doesn't do songs
Yeah.
that are relevant
Yeah.
to today's music. He
Right.
doesn't. He's old
No.
school.
But he's very popular. As a matter of fact,
I
she
love him.
just a couple 3 months ago, or a couple months ago, she was back with Bruno Mars and his latest album.
Sure.
And she played it. And I said, "Wow, I like everything this cat does." I
Same
said,
here. I mean,
you know what I
listen,
mean?
there's a few artists like that. I mean, I really love Bruno Mars
Yeah,
because he takes on that same persona
yeah,
of when I was coming up in the
yeah,
80s and the 90s.
yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah,
I mean, I was a teenager in the 70s,
yeah,
and I loved all that music, but
yeah,
the real genres that were the 80s and the 90s,
yeah,
of where I made my bones in the
yeah.
music business.
Right.
And he has that feel.
Yeah,
And that's why he
yeah,
crosses, when you're talking about he appeals to the younger crowd because of who he is. And
yeah,
then the older crowd loves him because of what he does.
yeah.
So he getting paid.
He's got it. Yeah,
Yep. He's getting
It-
paid. It's
yeah,
whoever points him in that direction is very, very smart.
yeah, yeah,
And I love his writing style.
yeah,
And I love the way it's very simple.
yeah,
When you listen to his productions,
yeah.
they're very easy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But he
Yeah. Well,
does it in a way.
The song is there, and of course,
Yes.
and his voice. Yeah, it's just good stuff,
Yeah.
man. It's
Yep,
good
it
music.
is. It really
I mean,
is.
and
Yep.
like you say, my daughter's like 24. When she's 23,
Yeah.
bringing me Bruno Mars, and I'm going, hey, yeah, baby, I love it.
Absolutely. I love all the stuff.
He's gold mine.
He is. He is. And there's a few of them. I mean, Usher's not bad.
Yeah,
There's not too many I can listen to on a regular basis anymore. But there's not a whole lot of them. I love Maxwell,
yeah,
his jazz type
Yeah.
feel.
yeah,
Sade, I always
yeah.
love.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And because these are musicians, man.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They bring something extra to the table. It's
Yeah.
that it factor.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and that's hard to find.
Oh, it is, man. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a God gift. You were you said that you can play your music for somebody and they go, this, and other people, yeah, whatever. But spiritual things are spiritually defined.
Yeah.
And artistic things are artistically, defined. People who are artistic, they can dig it.
Yeah.
Like spiritual people. Sometimes, you talk to people about spiritual things, they go, oh yeah.
Yep.
But but
No, I get
spiritual
it.
people, they'll go, yeah, man, I can dig where you're coming from.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's the same thing with music, So very subjective.
It is.
But you just have to be thick-skinned, like you say, and constantly working. I know you probably work. You got to work 24/7.
You do.
24/7.
There's
and
ideas
all
constantly going through your head.
Always maneuvering. Always maneuvering. And somehow you hit on something. Just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
or whatever. A lot of, when you're first coming up, you start out young, you start out with a lot of other people. And as they succeed in certain things, and as you succeed, you more or less, you will call each other and stay in touch and kind of help each other. But
Sure.
the longer you're in it, more and more people that you start out with,
Absolutely.
they fall to the wayside. And then all of a sudden you find yourself out there by yourself. And at this point, like I said, I was thinking the other day, I think I posted something, Tavares, they got three of the brothers that passed away.
Yeah.
That's an example. Now,
Chubby,
Butch,
just recently.
Chubby, Pooch,
Yep.
Ralph. And I always dealt with Ralph in terms of the business. But those three guys are going. There's Tiny left, and then there's Butch Feliciano, and I think Butch may be trying to go on by himself. I see him
Right.
a few things, And not too long ago, Gatson died, and I played on tons of records with Gatson. I Will Survive, you know.
Right.
Gatson was on, he played on so many records. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
There was this drummer that said about Gatson, and I never forgot it. And I think it's exactly the way I feel. He said, Gatson was a solid drummer. And I thought, man, you hit it right on the head.
I
Very
have
simple. He was a solid drummer.
I have programs that he's the drummer for
Oh, yeah.
for what you use. It's his drum. It's his drumming. I think it's probably something he did.
Yeah,
For extra
possibly. Beats and stuff like that.
beats.
Yeah,
Phenomenal.
yeah. He probably, he probably. Oh, he was asked to do that, or
Right.
did he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tell them where they can go and
Well,
purchase the book.
the first book I did, and it's available on Amazon.
Yep. I bought my copy.
Huh? Yeah,
I bought my
You can buy
copy
it on
right here.
Amazon. You can't get it. I don't think you can get it any cheaper than you can there. But this particular book about achieving longevity in the business, I did it, and it's only available on my site, btblive.com. And I think for those who want to stay in it, I think that's where the industry's going. It's going to
Yes.
be like direct to consumer.
I agree.
Because unfortunately, they got us. They got the creators locked out. I mean,
It's-
what is it? 1 million streams, and you get a little less than $300.
It's insane.
I mean,
And
you
it's
can't live off the
embarrassing.
stream.
It's embarrassing. And in
It is
fact,
embarrassing.
I've already
Actually-
talked about it. Yeah, I've talked about it with my partner,
Yeah,
who helps me so much doing this.
yeah,
Patty Feeney.
yeah.
She's my producer,
Okay.
and she makes sure everything's running right and helps me get guests and
Okay.
and takes care of all the stuff that that I don't have the time to do.
Right.
And she's way better at it than I could ever be.
Yeah. I
So
can
it
dig
works out great.
You got to know who to call, Joe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But
very important.
It's so bad for what
Yeah.
they do to the artists, especially the writers. I
Yeah.
mean, forget it. You can't
Yeah.
a million streams on Spotify,
Yeah.
you make $5,000. It costs you 17,000.
Yeah.
It costs you.
Yeah.
It would cost you because you're not. People out there. Let me just explain this to you.
Yeah.
You think you're going to write a song, pop it on Spotify, and make money? You're insane.
I know.
You can't make money
No.
without spending for promotion. And in order to get 1,000,000 streams, it's going to cost you about $17,000,
Wow. Yeah.
and you're going to get back 5.
Yeah.
That means you lose 12. I'm not great at math. I'm not great at math, but that's not in an equation that sounds good for any business.
Yeah. I heard somebody said that the music business these days, it kind of parallels the gold rush of 18. What was it? 1849.
The 49ers.
Yeah.
The 49ers.
49ers. All these guys, they rush to California and they're out there digging for gold and digging for gold.
Yep.
Hundreds of thousands of guys, and 99% of them, when they get through digging, they're broke, and they go home
That's
broke.
right.
But you know who made the money? The guys who were selling the slush boxes,
Guys that were selling the shovels, baby.
the shovels, the rope, the donkeys.
That's right. The
Those
guys
are
who were
the
out there
guys who
busting
made
their
the
balls,
money.
they got nothing.
Oh man, it's so ridiculous, it's laughable, right?
It is. It's insane. I mean, I got my channel. I'm up to like 16,500 monthly listeners.
Oh,
Okay.
that's great. Yeah.
I mean, it's going really well. I got a check the other day, $47.
Yeah, you have to diversify your musical talents. I swear
I've
to
spent
God.
$7,000 and I got back $47. It's not bad. It's not bad.
But I tell you what, I got. Oh yeah, these were words of wisdom that I learned. I got a little section called Words of Wisdom.
I remember I listened to it 3 times.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, if one of your listeners wants to have longevity in music business, it's $10. Download.
It's phenomenal, folks. Let me tell you.
And read it.
Yep.
Read it and adhere to it and think long term. You got to think long term.
If you're ever thinking of being in this business, and if you don't have $10 to spare to get this, because there is so much wisdom. I loved it. That's why I listened to it 3 times. I thought it was phenomenal.
Thank you. Appreciate
and
it.
for anybody out there who wants to do
get in the game,
you have to listen to this. It's going to save you a lot of heartache.
Oh boy. And if you don't go slow, even if you have a lot of money, if you got an ass pocket full of money, I would still advise you go slow, because there's so many mistakes along the way that you can make. You have so much to learn, but anyway, go slow and work hard every day. And stay in love. Stay in love.
Absolutely.
Pay your dues. And you can, and it can happen for you. It happened for me, and I started with nothing. Living on a riverbank in a small town in West Virginia called Rand. Nothing, dirt roads.
So he came from that.
But just love it.
40 years with Smokey Robinson. And that's an incredible feat in itself. And and all the other things that you did, Tavares, promotions, Check It Out, which was my closing song, ironically enough.
I remember.
And all the playing on I Will Survive and the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. People don't understand what kind of a talent that takes in order to do all that.
You have to build the career, build it slowly, and at this stage, it's it was a lot of highs, a lot of lows.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time, and I'm looking forward to the next book.
I've had 2 or 3 people say that to me. I don't know what it's going to be, but I got this one lady, she was a school teacher. She says, it's got to be a 3rd book, a trilogy, Boogie.
That's right.
And I said, well, if I can stay alive long enough, I'll think of something. It'll be about music, because
the life of a retired musician.
Huh?
The life of a retired musician.
I've had people say, when are you going to retire? Let me tell you something about musicians.
They don't.
You don't, or anybody that's in this business. You don't retire from the business. You say, you don't leave the business. The business leaves you.
That's right. Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Man. All right, Joe.
Hey, I appreciate it, Robert. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, man.
And I'll have all the links in the on the site. And appreciate the time. It's always a pleasure. What a gentleman you are.
Thank you.
And a treasure to the music industry.
Oh, well, okay. A treasure and music. Well, okay.
Huh?
Say, man, you going to cut this up and send me some?
I
like
definitely
you did
will.
last time?
Absolutely.
And I'll put it on and direct them to you.
Absolutely.
For the full thing.
Absolutely. I'll take care of it.
Okay.
All right, man. Great talking to you.
Great talking to you, Joe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.